It's been fun to watch the Warriors and the greatest shooter of all time, because I gave him some tips right before, about 5 seasons ago. There's film of this in the White House. Mr. Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, President Obama. This is a very, very humbling experience to be in front of you guys in Oakland, where my true story really has started. And in the last 10 years I've been here, really proud to represent Oakland, represent my team, taking us to new heights. So to be here in this city, it only feels right. To be able to host you and the entire MBK program, it means a lot. So I think I want to start. We obviously know why we're all here and celebrating what MBK means and what it has done and the future plans. But I want to kind of take it back to where the initial seed was planted. What was your initial motivation behind the initiative, and really, I guess, what has changed from the start to post-presidency and the plans that you guys have been trying to initiate, for sure?
Well, from the moment that I was elected president, I was constantly thinking about how do we make sure that everybody in this country has opportunity and every child is valued. And although this is the greatest country on earth and there are still people who are able to rise despite disadvantages, the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of neighborhoods that are still left behind. There are a lot of young people who sadly don't have the resources, don't have the support, don't have the attention that other communities have. And so we were working on a whole range of issues, from education to healthcare, you name it. But when Trayvon Martin was killed while I was in office, and some of you remember, although actually some of you so young you may not, I was asked to speak on the issue as somebody who is the head of federal law enforcement. I could not comment on the particulars of the case, but what I could say was that Trayvon could have been my son. And the fact that not just Trayvon, but every single day there were young men of color who were being shot and killed. That every single day there were young men who were dropping out of school. Every single day there were too many who were more likely to end up in prison than in college. Required us as a society to wake up and to find ways in which we could come together and say to all of our young people, but particularly young men of color who, on a whole bunch of indicators, were having a more difficult time in this society for a whole range of historical reasons, we had to be able to say to them, you matter. We care about you, we believe in you, and we are going to make sure that you have the opportunities and chances to move forward just like everybody else. And so it's out of that we decided to set up My Brother's Keeper. And the idea was that the government had a role to play in making sure that policies were put in place that weren't systematically disadvantaging young men of color. For example, statistically, it was shown that Black boys, Latino boys, Native American boys were far more likely to be disciplined, suspended, and expelled from school, oftentimes for behaving the same way that other boys were behaving, but there were different standards in terms of how they were judged in school. So, for example, the Department of Education, we created different guidelines that said, here's how you should think about discipline, because these are not disposable young people. These are our future, and we've got to make sure we invest in them.